everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to day 2 of the holiday card series. Before I get started, I want to share with you a free download. Christina Warner and I collaborated on Ink Combos Guide, and this is going to help you make your holiday card season a little bit easier. We provide you with 10 different color palettes that you can use for your holiday cards and beyond. And it's just a resource that we wanted to give to you guys this year. So you can head on over to the blog to get the download, and I'll also put a link in the description box. All right, our color palette today, I'm going to be using products from Hero Arts. So we have caramel, we have navy, we have pine and crimson. This is a beautiful, more natural looking color palette. I'm also going to use some charcoal as well. This is a great color palette if you don't really want to go non-traditional colors, but you don't want to do traditional colors. I'll go ahead and set this aside, and we're going to be using the My Monthly Hero November 2021 kit released today. So in this kit, you're going to get a stamp set that has some great patterns and some sentiments, and you're also going to get these fantastic dies. Now this is called the Snowy Christmas Build-A-Tag. And this is so cute. You can make snowmen and reindeers and elves and Santa. So adorable. You can make tags with these, but also you can put them on your cards as well, as I'm going to be doing today. As you can see, you're going to get a face, you're going to get some hats, you're going to get the beard for Santa, some antlers, some beautiful scarves and hats. And you can color these or stamp these any way you want. They're going to be absolutely a perfect addition to your card making. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start getting into the card. I'm going to also use the Argyle pattern bold print for my background today, and this is going to get a nice little spot for my Santa to sit because I'm going to be doing a Santa tag today. So we're going to go ahead and push that stuff aside, and I can bring in my Misty, and I'm going to bring in that Argyle pattern. So this, to me, I love this kind of bold print background because it can be used for holidays or really any time of the year, and it also makes a great masculine card. A lot of the times we don't use a lot of products to make masculine cards, so I really love that I'm seeing this, and this can make really great cards. I'm going to come in with that navy ink and that pine ink, and we're going to do a little bit of an ombre effect on the background of this. Now, I just want to give you a little bit of a backstory of this color combination. I am a fan of color palettes. You guys have heard me mention before that I have a pin, or a board rather, over on my Pinterest that I just save color combinations. So having this color combination, I knew I wanted to be more on a muted, more of a masculine color palette, because again, I have a tendency sometimes to forget to use those masculine colors. So I think this color palette gives you that warmth that you need for a masculine card, but it also can go for a feminine card. But again, you've heard me say in my last video on day 1, sometimes we forget about those masculine color palettes. So I'm really, when I thought of this color palette, I was really intentional that this will be great for those men in our lives. So I went ahead and pressed down a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to use a little bit of a tape runner so I can kind of hold this in place. Then I can close my Misty lid and go ahead and stamp that down. Now, because this is such a big, large stamp, I do want to make sure I double stamp this. And that's because of 2 reasons. One, when I pull this back, I might not have a lot of the area covered. As you can see here, I have some areas that might look a little bit distressed. And with using the Misty and keeping my paper exactly where it needs to be is going to afford me the opportunity to double stamp this. Now, if you like that distressed look, go for it. Don't bother to stamp it a second time. But in this case, I do want to have that background be a really solid background. Now look how pretty this is. Mixing those 2 colors, going from that navy to that pine, really does speak of a nice fall or winter inspired card, and it's going to be a great backdrop again for our Santa. So I went ahead and inked that up, and I'm pressing that back down, and I'm kind of rubbing pretty good this time just to make sure that I can get this impression on a second try. and I am good to go. Now the Santa is going to cover up some of this area, so I really don't need to make sure it's perfect, but I think I got a good impression with this one. Now I can go ahead and peel this up, and I'm going to set this panel aside to dry while we work on our Santa. I mean, look how gorgeous that is. Ah, I love this color combination, you guys. All right, now I'm going to come in with a piece of Dove White cardstock, and I'm going to cut the face of my Santa and the hat of my Santa. And I'm going to die cut this quite a few times. And I'm also going to cut out the whites of his beard and his little mustache. And I'm going to do that in the white glitter paper from Hero Art. I love, love, love using glitter or some kind of sparkle on my cards every year. I don't have to do it for all of my cards, but you know, it's a holiday season and we usually see a lot more sparkle or glitter this time of year. So once I run all of this through my die cutting machine, I'm going to do it several times because I want to be able to stack these pieces to give me a little bit of height. Now to start off with my Santa's face, I am a collector of black Santas. That's what I do every year. I add to my collection. I've been doing it for, I don't know, 10, 15 years or so, probably more than that because my daughter is 31. But I do collect black Santas, so I wanted to give this Santa a little bit of color. Now I am coming in with that caramel and it looks a little bit yellowy, but I'm going to show you why I started off with the caramel ink because I want to have that undertone, that warmth of the undertone instead of just using white cardstock. This is a great way to add a little bit of depth to your coloring without having to load up on your Copic markers. So as you can see, I'm just coming in with a very light coat. And again, it might look a little bit orangey, a little bit yellow, but don't worry, I'm going to show you how this is going to play into our favor. I'm just going to clean off my glass mat, and now I'm going to come in with a Copic marker. Now the Copic marker I'm going to use is a brown Copic marker. So I'm using the E31, it's like a beige tone. And because I'm going over the caramel color, you're going to see I'm going to have a lot of warmth now in that paper. Sometimes people call this like an underwash, especially if you're doing it with watercoloring. You kind of put down a color and then you add color over it, and it gives it just a little bit more warmth instead of just having white paper behind it. So now I can come in and I can color all over that Santa's face. But as you can see, it doesn't look stark white. It actually adds a nice medium undertone to that coloring. So I'm going to go all the way down and then I'm going to go all the way back up again. But as you can see, you're not seeing white through this. You're seeing that warm, browny kind of undertone. So once I have all the coloring done, I'm going to bring in my blending brush and add a little bit more depth and I'm just using the ink that's on the blending brush. I'm not adding any more ink to this, but now you can see I'm kind of getting a darker complected complexion Santa because these are the Santas that I have in my home. I could also recommend using a soft brown as well to give you a little bit of a deeper tone to your Santa's faces. So now look how cute this Santa is. He has my complexion. So now I can go ahead and set his face aside and we're going to start working on his hat. But before I do that, I do want to make sure I stack my pieces. So I did cut out another one of the Santa's faces in just the white cardstock. Remember I said I die cut this out several times because I really don't want to use foam tape for this. I just want to stack them one on top of the other. And again, it's going to give me a little bit of height for my Santa. Now we can come in and work with our hats. Again, I die cut them twice. And for my top layer, I want to add a design to my hat. So that's where I'm going to come in with the stamp set. Now the stamp set has polka dots and stripes to use on your scarves or your hats, totally up to you. I'm going to use the polka dots on my little Santa hat today because not all Santa hats just need to be red. We can have a design to our Santa's hats. Remember, like card making is all about what you see and what you create. And today, I wanted my Santa to have some polka dots on his hat. So in order to achieve this, I'm going to kind of tilt the design. So I really don't need it at the pom-pom part, and I really don't need it on the banner part. So I'm making sure to just not stamp on the pom-pom part because I might leave that white or I might add some glitter to that. So here's coming in with the crimson. This is going to be what? This is our fourth color in our fourth color in our color palette today. And then I can put that onto my Misty lid and go ahead and stamp down. And I love the way these polka dots look on this little hat. I think it's just precious. I can go ahead and pull that back. And look how cute that looks. I do want to get my color a tad bit deeper. And in order for this to stay in place too, I am using a sticky mat. Go ahead and press that down and then lift that back up. And look how cute my hat is. Absolutely love it. Now I can go ahead and use my tweezers and pull this off. And now I have a great design at the top of that hat. Again, you can do this in red cardstock if you want, but I do like using the stamp set for this. Now I'm going to come in once again and I'm going to stack these. Again, this is going to give me a little bit of height on my card without having to use foam tape between like each layer. I can grab that and then I can place that together. I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of your holiday traditions? What are some of your go-tos for card making? Do you make them clean and simple, or do you really have elaborate cards? Now I did die cut out the hat again in the white glitter paper because I do want the pom-pom of his hat and the banner part of his hat to be sparkly. And I can just bring in my scissors and snip off the pieces that I need. So as you can see, that's going to go right here in the front. And then I can add the little pom-pom to the back. And again, all I have to do is use my scissors and just trim out that section. Or if you wanted to, you can have a totally full sparkled hat. Again, card making is a personal preference and you just need to do what works best for you. I am using my Hero Arts Precision Glue because this has a bigger nozzle on it and I don't have to squeeze it through a tiny little nozzle. Once I get that lined up, you can see how adorable the top of this hat is. So cute. And then I will go ahead and put on the pom-pom. Now I do want to remind you guys that I have several years worth of card series in the description box below. So if you need more inspiration, I think I started in 2015. You can go back and see those videos as well for a little bit more holiday inspiration. Now once I have my pom-pom in place, look how cute this hat is. I just cannot say that enough because obviously I'm in love with this Santa hat. We can go ahead and start getting ready to build up our Santa. But look how cute he's gonna look. He's precious. Now let's go ahead and work on that beard. Now I did die cut out the beard in white. Again, I die cut this twice, going to give me some height to my card. And this is such a cool design because as you can see, the face kind of sits right in the middle of that little beard. I like that the beard and the mustache are two separate pieces. I think this was a great design. Now for his beard, I am going to add a little bit more of that glitter paper because it's super cute on this beard. And I'll just layer that right on top. Now this white sparkle paper pretty much goes with everything. Sometimes you might have sparkle paper or glitter paper that is only, only goes with a certain color. But this one has such great color variations and color shifts in it that it works perfectly. Now let's get into the nose. My nose is attached to my mustache. So I'm just using the residue that was left over on my ink blending tool. Again, I put down that layer first. I come right back in with that E31 just to touch up that color. And then again, I can just bring in that blending brush one more time. Now the mustache, I cut in half. I cut the pieces for the left and the right, obviously, so you can see the nose in between, because I needed my nose to be my face color, remember. Now I do want to make sure that I glue this down well. So I'm going to add this one more time to another die cut that's just been die cut in white. Again, I'm looking for a little bit of dimension here on my card. Now, if you did not want to add dimension, you could just totally do this in one layer and it would be totally fine. But for me, I do like to have a little bit of a raised element off of my cards. Now to get my little mustache piece in there, I am going to use my tweezers. And you can see, I mean, how easy it was to cut out the little mustache sides. And you'll also see within the die that it's really easy to snip around the nose portion to make the beard part a different color. Or not the beard part, sorry about that, the mustache part, a different color. Or like me, you can go ahead and add a little bit of sparkle to it. So once I have that glued together, now it's just really about building up this Santa. Now again, in the kit, you're going to get a reindeer, you're going to get a snowman, you're going to get a elf, and you're going to get a elf, Santa, reindeer, and snowman. I had to think about that last one. I couldn't remember off the top of my head. So I'm just going to clean off my work surface before I start putting this adorable little Santa together. Now again, if you go over to the Hero Arts blog, you're going to see some phenomenal creations from our design team. They're super, super cute. And you can also head on over to my blog and you're going to see close-up photos of this. Now, these die cuts are so easy to use. And again, you could make these in so many colors, especially you can design the Santa hat the way you see fit. You can use one of the color palettes to totally make that work. But this kit, I do believe, is going to sell out quickly. So if you want this, I'm going to suggest that you grab it before it's all gone. Because, we're making those holiday cards right now, and we want to make sure that we have all the great products that we need in our craft room to make this super, super easy. So now I can go ahead and glue on his hat to the top of his head. And look how cute he is. He's just precious. Now within the stamp set, I did say that you also have two different stamps that you can use for backgrounds, or you can use them to put a decorative element on your hats and your scarves. So the only thing I have left at this part is to put on his adorable little mustache. Just going to use a tad bit more of that precision glue. And I'm just going to actually put it on the mustache part itself, because the nose really is not touching that paper. So I just need to make sure I put it on the mustache pieces. And now this portion of our card is almost done, but look how handsome he is. He's just a totally handsome Santa. And, with a little bit of sparkle. Now look how cute he looks on the card. Now, in order for us to put him onto the card panel, I do want to use a piece of paper because I need to fill in his eyes. So in order to do that, I just have a piece of white cardstock that I just trimmed down to place behind his eye sockets. That sounds kind of creepy now. Or eye spaces in order to drop in his eyes. Now I did switch over to a thinner nozzle glue because I don't want glue to be seeping through the other side of these openings right now. So again, I just have a piece of white cardstock that I can just place behind here. Now, if you were going to do this, excuse me, as a tag in the background, I would suggest maybe cutting out a couple more pieces to like cover up that area. But in my case, it's just going to be placed on a card, so I don't need to worry about that part. Now I do want to drop in a little bit more of that glue, and I did die cut the eyes out of pitch black cardstock. And to do that, I just die cut the face, the entire face again, and just grab the pieces that will incorporate just to be his eyeballs. Again, you can do this in white and maybe make green eyes or blue eyes. I think Daniel on our design team did that, and it's absolutely so cute. And I'm just using my little jewel picker to make sure I can get them in place nicely. All right, we are almost done with this card. So the first thing I want to do is pop this up onto my card panel. Now, again, I did say I wanted a little bit of dimension. So at this part, this is where I'm going to come in and use some foam tape. This is a regular standard size card panel. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I did not trim this down where I would have a white border. I'm going to have this fill up the card panel. Now, because we have a little bit of dimension on here, but not much, we should not have to worry about any additional fees for postage. But look how cute he looks. He looks so precious. And again, there is that color palette that we pulled in, right? That is a color palette we were working with today. Now, within the kit, you're also going to get some red and white baker's twine, I believe. And I just wanted to make this look like a tag on my card without it actually being a tag. So I just used some of that baker's twine, and it's going to pull in that red, a little bit more of that red into my card. And I'm just trimming down a piece, and I can place it through the opening, which would normally be a tag opening. Now, if you don't want this to look like a tag, you can also trim that top part off, and then you just have like a round Santa hat. But again, they're called, you know, snowy tags, snowy Christmas builder tags. So I do want to make it look like a tag. I also think these dies will look perfect on a bookmark as well. So I do have a little bit of foam tape, and I'm placing this onto the back. And again, that's just going to raise this up a little bit, but it should not require me to use any more postage for this. Now, once I get this popped on, we need to find a sentiment. So I am going to place him a little bit higher up so I can get a sentiment rather underneath him. So just kind of eyeball him before I place him down on my card, and then I can place the sentiment. Now, I did use one of the sentiments that came with the stamp set, and this one here is just the Happy Holidays. And for this, I didn't want to stamp it directly on the card, so I did just stamp it off on a piece of squared cardstock, and I used that slate, and I can just tuck it right underneath my Santa. And I did make sure to add a little bit of red just to the border of that sentiment piece, because I just kind of wanted to pop off of the card a little bit. Now, I want to show you another way to add a little bit more detail. I did grab a white Jelly Roll pen, and I'm just going to put like little highlights where his eyes would be like sparkling if a camera was hitting it. So I just put in that tiny bit more detail on this card, and that really makes our Santa look super, super adorable. So that is a card today, but I do want to show you another card using this same color palette. Now, this card was made with the Cozy Winter stamp set, also released today from Hero Arts. So if you want to use this in a smaller design, you can use it just like this. Now, I use Copic markers to color this, but it's the same exact color palette. I have the caramel, I have the navy, I have the crimson, and the pine. Another way to use this color combination. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching today's video. I will see you guys back in another video on Wednesday. Until then, take care, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.